Hello, everyone. I'm Xolani Kacela, PhD. I reside in San Jose, California. Today's video is about social anxiety, what it is, how it affects lives, specifically Black lives, and offer specific strategies you can try at home to manage it. We're also going to delve into the big topic known as intersectionality. You need to know about this if you don't already. It impacts your self-awareness big time, especially if you are a person of color who lives and works in a majority culture environment. You'll want to watch that section later in the video. Be sure to click subscribe. When you subscribe and get your friends to subscribe, you help others find this channel and enjoy this content. Later in the video, I will provide special advice on how African Americans can manage social anxiety. That content applies to all BIPOCs, that is, Black, Indigenous people, and people of color. My strategies will help you feel more at ease in your own body and more confident about how to manage social anxiety. Remember this, you are not your social anxiety. You are a person capable of living a normal life and one who needs resources to cope and thrive. First, a disclaimer. This content does not constitute medical advice, nor is it a substitute for professional mental health counseling. Please seek out professional consultation for proper diagnosis and treatment. Let's jump right in to our understanding of social anxiety. First off, what is social anxiety? It's not just shyness, it's an intense fear of social situations where you worry about being judged or rejected by others. It's like living with a constant fear of negative judgment. The impact of social anxiety is great. Social anxiety can really mess with your life. Everyday situations like small talk at a party or speaking in public become monumental challenges. Physical symptoms like sweating and trembling are common, and there is a physical toll. But it's not just emotional. Social anxiety can take a toll on your physical health too. It can lead to sleep problems, digestive issues, and a weakened immune system. Some people even turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as alcohol or drugs or other forms of recreation that can harm their lives. Social anxiety can impact relationships and career because building relationships and pursuing goals can be tougher. Fear of judgment can make it hard to be yourself, and this fear can hinder personal and professional growth. Isolation and loneliness are common. People with social anxiety often feel alone in their struggle. Social anxiety can affect individuals from all racial and ethnic groups, including Black people. However, it is important to acknowledge that social anxiety may manifest differently or be influenced by unique cultural and societal factors within the Black community. Here are some ways in which social anxiety can affect Black individuals uniquely. There is a stigma surrounding mental health in many Black communities, and that can affect how you get treatment. This can lead to reluctance in seeking help for social anxiety, as you may fear judgment or perceive mental health treatment as a sign of weakness, or others in your family or your friendship group may perceive mental health treatment as a sign of weakness. Then there are experiences of racial discrimination, which can exacerbate social anxiety. Black individuals may worry about encountering racism or microaggressions in social situations, which can heighten their anxiety and make them more prone to avoidance behaviors. Cultural expectations and stereotypes may contribute to social anxiety. There can be pressure to conform to specific social norms or expectations within the Black community, which can be anxiety-inducing for you if you don't meet or feel like you measure up to those standards. Issues related to identity and self-esteem can play a significant role in social anxiety among Black people. Struggles with racial identity self-acceptance, or a feeling of not belonging can intensify social anxiety symptoms. Disparities in access to mental health services can affect you as a Black person with social anxiety. Limited access to culturally competent therapists or financial barriers may hinder your ability to seek treatment. In other words, in many communities, there are few culturally competent mental health providers. That is, persons who are white, who understand diversity and inclusion and equity, or just fewer people who are BIPOC and professional mental health counselors. Now there's this topic known as intersectionality. Many Black individuals experience intersectionality, facing multiple forms of discrimination or marginalization based on their race, gender, sexual orientation, or other factors. These intersecting identities can compound social anxiety and its impact. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what is intersectionality. Intersectionality is a concept that was coined by legal scholar and civil rights advocate Kimberly Crenshaw in the late 1980s. It's a framework used to understand how various social and identity categories, such as race, gender, sexuality, socioeconomic status, disability, and more, intersect and interact with one another, creating unique and complex experiences of discrimination, privilege, and oppression. Imagine you have different parts of your identity, like pieces of a puzzle. These parts can include your race, gender, age, where you come from, and more. Intersectionality is like looking at how all these pieces fit together and how they affect your life. Here's the important part. Each of these puzzle pieces can impact how people treat you and how you experience the world. For example, if you are a young Black woman, you might face different challenges than an older white man because you have a combination of identities. You may be, in addition to an African American woman, you are gay or lesbian, or perhaps you have a medical challenge, or perhaps you are short versus tall, or maybe fat versus thin. Or you may have, in addition to your social anxiety, conditions such as depression. And these all intersect to form the total of your anxiety. Intersectionality helps us understand that life isn't just about one piece of your identity, it's about how all of your different pieces come together and influence things like the opportunities you have, the obstacles you face, and how society treats you. This concept reminds us that everyone's experiences are unique, and we should consider all parts of a person's identity when we talk about things like fairness, equality, and justice. And it helps us to see the bigger picture and make sure we're treating everyone fairly and with respect. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into how this aspect of intersectionality affects Black lives. To address social anxiety within the Black community, it's crucial that we consider these unique factors and challenges. Number one, culturally competent mental health professionals who understand these nuances can provide more effective support and therapy. Additionally, community-based initiatives, educational programs, and destigmatization efforts can help reduce the barriers to seeking help and foster a more empathic and inclusive environment for those affected by social anxiety within the Black community. Now let's go a little bit more deeply into this concept of intersectionality among Black people. Number one, there's a cumulative impact. Intersectionality refers to the idea that individuals can simultaneously belong to multiple marginalized groups, such as being Black, LGBTQ, disabled, or a combination of these identities. When facing social anxiety, these multiple layers of identity can intersect and interact in complex ways. The cumulative impact of discrimination and stigmatization related to each identity can intensify the experience of social anxiety. Number two, there are unique stressors. Each identity within an individual's intersectionality can bring its own unique stressors. For instance, a Black LGBTQ person may contend with discrimination based on both race and sexual orientation, leading to increased social anxiety in contexts where these aspects of identity intersect. In other words, if a person is African American and a member of the LGBTQ community, the impact of being both of those come together and can intensify one's sense of social anxiety. Now, what are some coping strategies? Intersectionality can also influence how each of us copes with the world. Black individuals with intersecting identities may develop specific coping mechanisms that reflect their experiences. For example, they may rely on supportive networks within both their racial and LGBTQ communities to manage their social anxiety. How does discrimination impact social anxiety? That's number 4. Discrimination experienced by individuals with intersecting identities can be amplified, that is, worsened. In situations where social anxiety is already a factor, the fear of experiencing discrimination or exclusion can be heightened due to the compounded effects of discrimination from multiple angles. 5. Are there protective factors? On the positive side, intersecting identities can provide protective factors. Support and resilience drawn from one's various communities can serve as powerful buffers against social anxiety. It's important to acknowledge and harness these strengths. 6. Inclusive support. Recognizing intersectionality is crucial in providing support. Mental health professionals and support systems should acknowledge and respect the various aspects of a person's identity, ensuring that interventions and treatments are inclusive and sensitive to the complexities of people's experiences. 7, let's talk about advocacy and allyship. Intersectionality highlights the importance of allyship and advocacy. It calls upon individuals and communities to stand in solidarity. Mental health professionals and support systems should acknowledge and respect the various aspects of a person's identity, ensuring that interventions and treatments are inclusive and sensitive to the complexities of people's experiences. If you're interested in learning more about allyship, please check out my book titled Jumpstart Your Allyship, which is available wherever you buy books. 8. Research and awareness. Further research into the intersectionality of social anxiety is needed to better understand how various identities interact and influence this condition. Raising awareness about the unique experiences of individuals with intersecting identities can help reduce stigma and foster a more inclusive approach to mental health support. In summary, intersectionality is a critical lens through which we can understand how social anxiety and other mental health conditions are experienced by individuals with multiple marginalized identities. It emphasizes the importance of recognizing and addressing the complex interplay of these identities in order to provide more effective and empathetic support to those who may be disproportionately affected by social anxiety. Now, let's delve into how social anxiety can affect Black people within their context of their lives and experiences. We begin with racial trauma. The experiences of racial trauma, which can encompass acts of discrimination, racism, or racial microaggressions, can significantly contribute to social anxiety among Black people. These traumatic experiences can lead to hypervigilance and constant fear of encountering such situations in social settings, making social interactions highly distressing. Cultural expectations and code switching. This is an important area. Many Black people may engage in code switching, where they alter their language, behavior, or appearance to fit into different social or professional settings. This adaptation can be a coping mechanism, but also a source of stress and anxiety because it requires constant self-monitoring and can lead to a feeling of inauthenticity. Then there's the threat of stereotyping. Black people may experience stereotype threats, which is the fear of confirming negative stereotypes about their racial group. In social situations, this fear can lead to heightened self-consciousness and anxiety as you worry about reinforcing stereotypes or being judged based on certain stereotypes. Now, let's talk about social isolation. Social anxiety can sometimes lead to social isolation. In the context of the Black community, this isolation can be particularly challenging as it may limit opportunities for support and connection with others who share similar experiences. Intersectionality impacts your social anxiety as a Black person. There's the idea of cultural resilience and strength. On a positive note, many Black individuals draw on cultural resilience and strength within their community to cope with social anxiety. These can include seeking support from family, faith communities, or cultural traditions that provide a sense of belonging and support during difficult times. But there are mental health disparities within the Black community, which can impact the ability to access treatment for social anxiety. Structural inequalities, limited access to healthcare, and financial barriers can hinder you as a Black person from seeking professional help. How do you get help? Let's talk about some strategies you can try at home. These can complement professional help. 1. Breathing exercises. Practice deep breathing to calm your nerves in anxiety-inducing situations. Mindfulness and meditation. These techniques can help you stay present and manage anxious thoughts. Positive affirmations. Build self-confidence with positive self-talk. Exposure therapy. Gradually expose yourself to social situations that make you anxious, starting with small steps, then increasingly get into more complex situations. You might want to try journaling. Write down your thoughts and feelings to gain insight into your triggers around anxiety. Then, of course, you always want to pay attention to your self-care. Prioritize self-care routines, including exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep. How about virtual exposure? Use online platforms to practice social interactions in a controlled environment. In other words, when you're online, try to make sure that you have a limited exposure to social interactions. Put up some guardrails around your time so that you're not overwhelmed by the online activity. Social support networks. Seeking support from understanding friends or joining support groups online can help. Now, I promised some additional strategies for Black people who are dealing with social anxiety, and these strategies apply to all BIPOCs, that is, persons who are Black, Indigenous people, and other people of color. Of course, number 1, seek professional help. Consider working with a mental health professional who understands the unique challenges you may face due to both your social anxiety and your racial or cultural background. They can provide tailored guidance and support. You want to look out for cultural competency. Look for therapists who are culturally competent and have experience working with individuals from diverse backgrounds. Practice positive self-talk. Work on building self-confidence by using positive affirmations and self-compassion. Replace critical thoughts with more supportive thoughts. Set realistic goals. Set achievable goals for yourself in social situations and celebrate your successes, no matter how small. Use them as building blocks for your self-esteem. Of course, you want to focus on education. Learn more about social anxiety, including its causes and its symptoms. Understanding your condition can empower you to manage it more effectively. In conclusion, social anxiety is a challenging condition, but with the right strategies and support, you can overcome it. Don't hesitate to seek professional help and try these home strategies to complement your progress. Doing this can raise awareness and offer empathy and support, not only to yourself, but to those in your social network who are dealing with social anxiety. Stick with your plan and you can make a significant difference. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn more about this channel, click on this link now.